Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Tuesday, September 17th, second show of the day for y'all. So, look, it's a little bit of an extended week with the Jaguars not playing until Monday night. So, we're going to have an extra day to preview the Jaguars and Bills matchup. Jags 0-2. Lots of folks calling for coaches' heads, wanting there to be changes to the starting lineup, changes to the coaching staff. It's doom and gloom around Jacksonville right now. And understandably so. The Jaguars have lost, 7 out of their last 8 games. So fans are not happy. But obviously, nothing the Jaguars can do to change that feeling, except for going out and playing a good game against the Buffalo Bills and earning their first victory of the season. That's 6 days away from now. So I wanted to take a step away from this season and talking about coaching changes. What can the Jaguars offense do differently? How does the defense need to improve? How can this football team win a game, right? I want to take a step away from that. Look at the draft for a minute. 3-round Jacksonville Jaguars 2025 mock draft. I've been doing draft work year round. I've watched about 60, 70 players by now. So not a huge sample size. You want to get to, over 200 plus, obviously. If you're evaluating the draft, as a scout, you want to be 350, 400, 500, 600 plus. If you're working for a team needs to have scouting reports on everybody, right? But I want to take a look at a 3-round Jaguars mock draft. The Jaguars have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, thanks to that trade with the Minnesota Vikings. So we're going to run through all 4 picks, talk about what could be with this Jacksonville Jaguars roster following 2024. Because I know a lot of fans are pretty much putting this regime to bed. And look, if the Jaguars finish where they're currently slotted, which is the 4th overall pick at 0-2, I would expect and hope there would be massive changes, sweeping changes. I would think the head coach would be gone. I would think the general manager would be gone. Now, Shad Khan, he has never completely cleaned house. There's always been someone hanging around from the previous regime every single time. So, maybe that's a fool's hope, thinking that potentially a clean sweep of the front office and the coaching staff is in order. Who knows? That's how I would view it. That's how I would project it, certainly. And you look at the Jaguars' contract situations, we've talked about it a lot. They don't have a tackle under contract beyond 2024 except for Anton Harrison. So that's obviously a position to look at. I think corner is a position that's interesting with Ronald Darby being up there in age, Tyson Campbell dealing with injuries throughout his young career so far, obviously on a new deal, but so he's not going anywhere. But got to figure out a way to stay healthy. Safety, Andre Sisco's on a contract year. If he's not back, and right now I would say, I'm as big as Andre Sisco fan as there is, I think, but first 2 games not been good. Did not end last year particularly well. I think if you had to make a decision right now, you're probably not signing him. That's the decision the Jaguars made this offseason. They could have signed him. They didn't. So those are some areas you're looking at. Brandon Sheriff at guard. Final year of his deal. Do you keep him around? I don't think so. Up there in age. Mobility looks like it's just not what it used to be. Power looks like it's not what it used to be. So those are some areas certainly to look at. I would imagine, Christian Kirk's still in Jacksonville following 2024, but anything could happen there. That contract, they have some flexibility. He has not had a good start to the season. So there's a lot of balls up in the air right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars, where you just don't know what's going to go down. But I wanted to do this mock draft, have some fun with it. Again, I do draft work year round. I love the NFL draft, love talking about it, love thinking about the future, these prospects, how they could fit in with different teams. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this mock draft. And the Jaguars, like I said, they have the 4th overall pick. I'm a huge fan of fortifying the trenches. The Jaguars, again, Walker Little, Cam Robinson, both on expiring contracts. I would be very surprised if Cam Robinson is back. Walker Little, maybe, because you might be able to work out, a less than major deal for a player who hasn't gotten a lot of run. Maybe he enters the starting lineup at some point this year. Who knows? But the way I look at it, if there's a new regime, they're probably unlikely to bring back either guy. They're probably like looking at this draft class and saying, hey, we can go get our guy to protect Trevor Lawrence. And so I've got Kelvin Banks coming off the board. I think Kelvin Banks is a fantastic prospect. And he had a lot of inconsistencies in 2023. I think he's cleaned that up so far in 2024. Looked fantastic. Just little inconsistencies with hands and leverage and balance, footwork. But in the biggest games in 2023, as a true sophomore left tackle for the Texas Longhorns, Kelvin Banks showed up big time. He's a very good athlete. He has power. He can drive you off the ball. He can move laterally. He can pass protect. I don't think he has a major weakness physically. This is the type of guy I think a new regime could fall in love with, especially if he continues to play the way he's playing now, tests well, aces the pre-draft lead up. Kelvin Banks has as much potential to be a superstar tackle in this league as anyone in this draft, in my opinion. There's plenty of other prospects you could look at, like Will Campbell. I love him. Doesn't have great length. In fact, his length is probably going to be, below thresholds for a lot of evaluators. So maybe teams will be looking at him as a guard tackle, fit in where he fits best. Try him at both and see what happens. But I think Kelvin Banks could be awesome protecting Trevor Lawrence's blind side left tackle. Pair him up with Anton Harrison, who you hope starts to play a little bit better than he has the first couple weeks. And Kelvin Banks, Anton Harrison, that could be your bookends. And that could be really nice. At 35, I have cornerback Siobhan Ravel. He's a playmaker, ECU. He's got length. He has incredible ball skills. He's making plays all over the football field. He is not the same type of player as a Quinyon Mitchell. They certainly project differently to the NFL, but in terms of being that smaller school prospect who's going to come in, potentially even be a first-round pick this year with the way he's making plays on the football and dominating at ECU. If he, again, similar to Banks, if he has that pre-draft lead-up or similar to Quinyon Mitchell, Sauce Gardner, if he has that type of pre-draft lead-up, he could certainly end up being a first-round pick. But this is an incredibly deep cornerback class. And so I think there's a decent chance that a Siobhan Ravel could be available top of the second round. And pairing him up with a Tyson Campbell, I think makes a lot of sense. So you're adding to your cornerback room, hopefully you would keep Darby in this situation. And then so you would have Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby, and Siobhan Ravel in 2025 as a complete outside group, with Buster Brown behind. And it's continuing to improve your top-end talent and your depth at corner. And, of course, Jarian Jones and Darnell Savage in the slot. That's how I would be viewing that. So, yeah, I think that would be a really exciting top 2 picks for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously frustrating considering you've been paying Cam Robinson, you drafted Walker Little, but a new regime's probably going to want to go get their own guy. Quickly, I would like to tell you all a little bit about Underdog Fantasy, who sponsors the show. That's where I play best ball, daily fantasy football, a lot more. They've got a ton available. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward. Signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use fantasy mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. You can sign up with promo code DuvalDaily, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use for your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code DuvalDaily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. So continuing on with this mock draft, 65 overall. I mentioned Andre Cisco is on an expiring contract. The way he's playing right now, I don't know what you do. But if he is no longer in Jacksonville following the 2024 campaign, safety Xavier Watts makes a lot of sense, and this is a prospect who might not even be available at 65 overall, but this is a deep safety class. Deep safety class. It's possible he could be available here, top of the third. And Watts is from Notre Dame, about 6 foot, about 200 pounds, ball hawk, 7 interceptions last year, reliable in run defense, reliable tackler. I think when Andre Cisco was coming out, he's a player who obviously had fantastic ball production. He's a ball hawk. He is. But there were inconsistencies in his angles towards the football, inconsistencies with his tackling. And you've seen those things show up in the NFL, unfortunately. Thought that they were getting cleaned up a little bit last year when he was fully healthy. Thought he would come in this year in this Ryan Nielsen defense and it would be the best of Andre Cisco. So far, it has not been. So Xavier Watts, I think, presents some of that ball hawking skill, right? But also a little bit more of the consistency in the safety department that could get you excited to have him on the field every single play and in every single situation, knowing that he's going to be where he's supposed to be and also give you the potential to turn the football over every time that ball's in the air over the middle. So that would be pretty fun. And then at 89 overall, the Jaguars' final pick in this 3-round mock draft, look, Gabe Davis probably going to be around 2025, maybe not beyond that. A lot is yet to be written about the 2024 Jaguars. As much as everybody wants to throw this season down the drain already, a lot is yet to be written. They could still turn things around. They could still be competitive. They have been competitive the first 2 weeks. They just haven't won the football games. But, Gabe Davis, I don't necessarily think is going to be a long-term fixture in Jacksonville. Christian Kirk, will he be back? Don't know. Evan Ingram will be on the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2025 in all likelihood unless he's traded. But the only real building block on the outside at wide receiver long-term, in my opinion, is Brian Thomas Jr. So I think going and getting a wide receiver here, if it makes sense, that can also play on the outside, could be great. And I think Torrey Horton out of Colorado State, if he's there, started his career at Nevada, that could be a lot of fun. This is a guy that, 6'2", 185 pounds, has really good length, a big catch radius, comes down with a lot of contested catches, extends for the football. He is a good route runner. Very good route nuance. He knows how to create separation. I think he has that long striding speed to create separation vertically, to create separation on, if you're on shallow crossers, mesh, whatever it may be, deep overs. I think he could really complement Brian Thomas Jr. And Trevor Lawrence, he's at his best when he has guys that he can throw the football up to and they can go make a play for him. I think if you have a Brian Thomas Jr. and a Torrey Horton doing that for you, it makes Trevor Lawrence's life a lot easier. And the good thing for him is in 2025, he wouldn't necessarily have to come in and be that guy immediately because you do have Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis would still be there. Probably still have Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, or at least one of them. So it's not like he has to come in and be this alpha from the jump, but he's a guy that's ready to contribute. And I think he would definitely help the Jaguars' passing offense. So in this mock draft, you're upgrading at tackle. And what I would do, honestly, if I was running things here, I would try to keep Walker Little. And if I drafted Kelvin Banks at 4 and kept Walker Little, I would say we're going to get our best 5 on the field. And one of y'all is going to be playing guard. One of y'all is going to be playing tackle. We're going to figure that out, throughout the offseason, which one it's going to be. And I think that would give you a really potentially good situation trying to protect Trevor Lawrence a little bit better than you're doing right now. Because if one of those guys upgraded over Brandon Sheriff at right guard, the other one upgraded at tackle, that could be great. That could be great. And then you're talking about going and getting extremely long cornerback, great ball production, very aggressive, good athlete. Pairing him up with Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby for 2025. That's a nice little group there. And obviously, Darnell Savage and Jarian Jones in the slot. 65 overall, safety Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. Talked about him a lot just now. And then finishing off with wide receiver Torrey Horton. This would be the type of draft that I think fans could get fired up about. Obviously, this is just an experiment for fun, exercise for fun. We're only 2 weeks into the season. Honestly, I think that counting the Jaguars out at this point is premature. Now, if things don't go well the next couple weeks, sure. But I know a lot of fans are looking towards the future, so I kind of wanted to provide some content in this long week with that in mind. So let me know what you think about this mock draft. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear, become a channel member here on YouTube, and make sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. Check out their app or underdogfantasy.com. Y'all have a good one.